Hello my dear friends, we all know from our previous video on data and data collection techniques that data are facts collected to answer any post research question. Once data are collected, then we need to summarize those data, analyze those data and interpret those data. Then presentation of data is important step because presentation of data is to communicate to readers. It's about to present the findings to readers. So it should be easy and clear to understand. It must provide extensive information in comprehensive ways so that maximum effects can be left on readers with their minimum reading efforts. If we know our readers that they are familiar with those reading data and complexities of data, then even slightly complicated methods can be applied for displaying data. But when we know that readers are unknown to us, then we should try to present or display our data in very simplified manner. In this computerized world, many computer programs are available to make such a presentation easy and attractive. So data must be prepared in such a way that they are properly recognized by the program being used. Now we will see methods of presentation. Methods of presentation must be determined as per the nature of data, their format and method of analysis. Inappropriate presentation usually lack appropriate communication with readers. So looking to data and advantages or disadvantages of presentation techniques, any specific method of data presentation should be opted. There are three main methods of data presentation as textual presentation, tabular presentation and graphical presentation. Textual presentation, if we see, this method comprises the presentation of data with a paragraph or a number of paragraphs. It is important while presenting contextual data to analyze and explain specific points. Usually inquiry commission follows this method. Some factors are important to be considered while presenting data through this method, as language of presentation should be easy, highlighting of main points of findings should be there, number, percentages, etc. presented in data should be cross-checked properly, unnecessary details should be avoided, repetitions should be avoided, any words showing biasness should be avoided as must, never, exactly, etc. You can see example like out of 50 students appeared for final examination, 10 or 20% students secured university ranking in research methodology. This is the example of textual presentation. There are a lot of merits and demerits of this. Merits, if we see, it allows researchers space for elaboration as findings can be outlined with trend, etc. Such presentation provides chances for emphasis of important points. Even if we talk about qualitative data that cannot be presented through other methods, or this method is proper for easy presentation of qualitative data. Even for context, if we talk, concepts are well explained, so meaning can be understood by readers easily. When we see demerits, it is not attractive as extensive data are in form of words and sentences, and readers always feel boring looking to these sentences or words to read all in details. Second, it is not suitable for large set of data, and it will be completely mess up, then readers have to invest time and effort to read the data. Another one is coming tabular presentation of data. Tabular presentation of data is a systematic and logical arrangement of data in the form of rows and columns. It is self-explanatory presentation of data with aim to display data more meaningful and easily comprehensible. The biggest advantage of such presentation is economy of space and time. Numerical tables are usually divided in two types, as mathematical table and statistical table. Mathematical table is list of numbers showing result of calculations, while statistical table is numbers representing quantities or degree of concrete things, qualities or events. There are a lot of objectives for tabular representation. First, to make complex data simple, then to facilitate comparison, then to make statistical analysis and interpretation easier, as averages, correlations, etc. becomes easier. Then it saves space. To display essential features of data, tabulation it becomes easier, and lot of times you will find below the table sources and references are given. So to provide source and reference, tabulations becomes easier. There are a lot of rules for tabulation. A table must be appropriate in size. It should not be too large or too small. Large numbers should be approximated. Usually for a purpose, one table should be presented. Space and breaks of tables should be appropriate. It should not be too vague. Units of measurement must be well defined under headings or subheadings. Logical arrangement for stubs are needed. Proper labeling in terms of headings and subheadings is required. Sources or credits for data must be given. So for when we see a table, there are a lot of components of tables. First is table number. A number of table is required for its proper identification and referencing. Then just below you will find that table number, table heading or title is coming. A heading should be there for any table in relation to materials of displayed data. This should be just below the table number. It should be short, clear and self-explanatory. No abbreviations or detour marks should be used in title. Then appropriate number of rows and columns according to nature of data should be there. The size should be according to quantum of data to be displayed and availability of space. Then it comes for head notes. If necessary, head notes must be included in bracket to disclose the details of data just below the title. But when we are using lot of different types of data, then it can be used below the caption. Then units, if that must be described. In scientific presentation, units should be clearly written. It is usually written in place of head notes just below headings. But in case of different units, it should be stated at the top of respective columns. Then it comes for caption or column headings. At the top of each column, a heading should be given to explain the figures. It is called as caption. Then it comes for stubs or row headings. It must describe and define characteristics. Then body. It contains the information and details of investigated facts. Columns are read vertically from top to bottom and rows are read horizontally from left to right. Then it comes to source note. This details about the source of data, especially when secondary data are used. Then footnotes. It explains the specific feature of table which is not self-explanatory and has not been explained earlier. For example, point of exceptions, if any is there. Then it comes to types of table. Tables can be classified based on various bases. Like on the basis of purpose, it may be general purpose table or specific purpose table. While on the basis of nature of inquiry, it may be original or primary table and derived or derivative table. Derivative table may be about derived data like total, average, ratio, percentage, etc. Then it comes to on the basis of number of characteristics covered. It may be simple or complex table. Now you see on the basis of purpose. First one is general purpose table. It is also called as reference table. It provides information for general use of reference. You can see the example of table over here. First table number is given, then title is there like country wise corona cases, and simply it is in two columns like country and cases. So various countries are there and cases are given. Then at the bottom of table, source is given from where these data are collected. So this is called as general purpose table. Even for references you will find, or in appendixes in books, those are also the examples of general purpose table. Even in the beginning of the books you will find list of illustrations with page number, etc. This is given. That's the also example of reference table. Another one is specific purpose table. It is also called as analytical or summary table. It provides information for specific discussion. You can see the example over here that's taken from British Medical Journal website. Here they have given the table number. Then title is their distribution by socio-economic class of patients admitted to self-poisoning and gastroenterological units. So they have divided self-poisoning in sample A and gastroenterological units in sample B. So here you can see socio-economic class, they have classified in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and various samples are there, and total number they have given, and then proportion in group. So you can find, looking to this is the summary of the work. You can analyze, you can summarize in your brain just looking to this table. So this is the reason this is called as specific purpose table. When we are talking about on the basis of nature of inquiry, this is original or primary table, just like we have seen in coronavirus case with country. Then derived or derivative table. So derived or derivative table, if we are talking, take with reference of total cases, then percentage of cases in which country is what. If we distribute that way, that will become derived table. Now on the basis of number of characteristics, it may be simple table. Such table is based on single characteristics. Here you can see the marks of students. So here marks with their number of students are given. So marks of students, that marks is the single characteristics. So this is in simple table. In complex table, it deals with complicated information for two or more characteristics. If two coordinate factors are present, it is called as two-way or bivariate table. If three coordinate factors are present, it is called three-way table. If more than three coordinate factors are present, it is called as manifold or higher order complex table. You can see bivariate table. Here marks and gender, two characteristics are taken. So number of students, they are further divided based on gender. Then it comes to three-way table or treble table, it is also called as. Here along with marks and gender, location is also added. That is the third characteristic in terms of urban and rural. So here three characteristics are dealt. That's why this is three-way table. If same way more than three characteristics are dealt, then that becomes manifold table. Now it comes to graphical and or diagrammatic presentation. I am using and or because a lot of times both are same, but some of the authors have differentiated them also. So we will see later what are the differentiations. Graphical or diagrammatic presentations are convincing, appealing and easily understandable methods of data presentations. They are geometrical illustration of data. Number of advantages lies with this data, as they are visual presentation of numerical data, so are attractive and easily apprehensible. Illustrations leave long-lasting impressions than just text. They are universally acceptable. They highlight the salient features of data with internal relationship. Vivid presentation of data such as trends, comparisons, etc. are less time consuming from reader's point of view. If merits or advantages are there, then demerits are but natural. So some of the demerits are also here, like limited information, then classified and tabular presentation. Then they portray limited characteristics. In case of data with wide variation, they may mislead. If baseline is wrongly taken, then analysis may be faulty or deflecting. As we discussed, that differences are mentioned by some of the authors. So they have mentioned the differences as all diagrams are graph, while all graphs are not diagrams. It means diagrams are subset of graph. Graph is representation of information using lines on 2 or 3 axes such as x, y and z, whereas diagram is a simple pictorial presentation. Graphs are used to study further for mathematical or statistical usage as slopes, trends, averages, etc., while diagrams add information without aiming to further use. Graphs are represented through scales, while diagrams are not necessarily using scales. Diagrammatic presentation is more attractive than graph. Some of the general rules are there for graphical and diagrammatic presentation. It's same way what we have seen in tabular presentation. Like first number should be there. Same way number gives specific identification as well as options for further referencing. Then it must follow title. It should be based on subject matters and facts depicted in diagrams. It should be self-explanatory, unambiguous and neatly presented. Then appropriate proportions between width and height. Opposite proportion of height and width gives attractive illustration. Then choice of scale. Proper scale selection is important as data changes with changing scales. Then choice of diagrams or graphs. Depending upon the nature of data, magnitude of observations, purpose, skills, etc., different types of graphs or diagrams are used. Appropriate selections avoid distorted presentation and misleading interpretation. Then it comes to footnotes and source. If required, any of graph or diagram must be left with footnote and or source to clarify the all points related with depiction. Then index. An index illustrates lines, shades, colors, etc. They must easily understandable. They must be easily understandable by readers. Then neatness. Neatness is criteria for all presentation. Same way it applies here for graphs or diagrams also. Simplicity. They must be simple enough to understand easily. Then it comes to graphical or diagrammatic presentation of ungrouped data. So data may not be grouped in frequency distribution. For the data which is not grouped in frequency distribution, those are ungrouped data. For the data which is not grouped in frequency distribution, following graphs or diagrams are used, like line graph, bar graphs or bar diagrams, circle or pie graphs or pie diagrams, pictographs or pictograms. Line graph, if we see, they are used to illustrate naturally accompanying relationship between two variables by plotting their respective values on x and y coordinates. They are used to display continuous data and are used in prediction of trends, slopes or events for future. Like you can see over here example, we have given chart or graph number, that's followed by title, the glycemic index rates foods based on how they affect blood sugar levels. Then graphs are there, that's on x and y coordinates only. And at the bottom of this, you can see source, that source is given. Then it comes to bar diagrams. A bar chart or diagrams shows data in separate columns. It compares the data using solid bars to represent the quantities. According to the quantities or quantum, the length of bar is usually taken. So here you can see in example, same way chart or graph number, title. Here different place of dates are given by percentage wise. So maximum deaths are occurring in hospitals. So that's, you can see the longest bar, while the minimum in prison among these three taken cases. So this is the shortest bar. After that it comes to circle or pie chart. A pie chart is used to show data as percentage of whole. It is simple and quick method to exhibit proportions. The whole circle is taken in 360 degree. So 360 degree is taken as 100%. So according to the covered percentage, that degree is covered in a circle. So you can see in example, that same way chart and graph number, then title showing the 9 most important diseases featured of geospatial health. So you can see that maximum is over here with other diseases, injuries and risk factors, that's 44.9%. Other than that, malaria, schistosomiasis 11.2% each, and then other diseases according to the proportions are mentioned. Then it comes to pictogram. Pictographs or pictograms are the graphs or diagrams used for presenting an ungrouped statistical data in pictorial form. Pictorial means picture-like form. As a picture is said to be easily understood by anyone, a lot of times it is said that pictures are leaving 100 times more impressions than those texts. So same way here you can see chart or graph number, then year-wise selection of women in government services. So different years they have given. Each woman picture is taken as equivalent to 1000 women. So in 2000, if you see, this is 5000 women were selected. In 2001, 7000. In 2002, 9000. And in 2003, it's 12,000. So this type of presentation is called as pictogram or pictorial presentation. Now we'll come to graphical or diagrammatic presentation of grouped data. That's based on frequency distribution. Following graphs or diagrams are used for frequency distribution. The important one is histogram, followed by frequency polygon, then cumulative frequency curve or ogive. Histogram, if we see, a histogram or column diagram is essentially a bar graph of frequency distribution. So it differs from bar graphs, as you will find that here among the column there is no space. It shows a continuous data with no gaps between the columns. It is used when no gap lies between categories. It is customary to take two extra intervals, one below and one above the taken group intervals or classes. Those columns or bar over here is called as bins. So frequency of distribution is plotted on y-axis. You can see the example over here, histogram of hemoglobin range and number of patients. So number of patients on y-axis you can see, because that's dealing with the frequency of a specific hemoglobin level. Then it comes to frequency polygon. A frequency polygon is a line graph for the graphical presentation of frequency distribution. So frequency is usually same way plotted on y-axis, and values of variables being measured are shown on x-axis. So mark points to show the frequency in each class. Then these points with straight lines are connected to complete the frequency polygon. We can get a frequency polygon from a histogram also, but if the midpoints of upper bases of rectangles are connected. If that's not needed, it can be directly plotted. You can draw or you can use Microsoft Excel. There options are given. If you are putting that insert, you will find lot of options are given for this in terms of diagrams. So accordingly you just select looking to this and you can opt for that. Then it comes to cumulative frequency curve or ogive. The cumulative frequency curve or graph or ogive is a graph that represents the cumulative frequencies for the classes in a frequency distribution. The cumulative frequency is the sum of frequencies accumulated up to the upper boundary of a class in the distribution. Percent of cumulative frequency is plotted on y-axis, while class boundaries are plotted on x-axis. Each point should be plotted on the upper limit of class boundary. For example, if your first class boundary is 0 to 10, the point should be plotted at 10. There are two types of ogive. First one is less than ogive. Second one is the greater than or more than ogive. Less than ogive, if we talk, the frequencies of all preceding classes are added to the frequency of class. This series is called the less than cumulative series. It is constructed by adding the first class frequency to the second class frequency and then to the third class frequency and so on. The downward cumulations results in the less than cumulative series. While when we talk about the greater than or more than ogive, the frequencies of succeeding classes are added to frequency of a class. This series is called the more than or greater than cumulative series. It is constructed by subtracting the first class frequency from the total, then second class from that, and third class from whatever is coming, and so on. The upward cumulation result in greater than or more than cumulative series. Ogive graphs or cumulative frequency graphs are used to find the median of the given set of data. If both the less than and greater than cumulative frequency curve is drawn on the same graph, we can easily find the median value. The point in which both the curve intersects corresponding to the x-axis gives the median value. Here in this example you can see, here blue one is showing less than ogive, red one is showing greater than ogive. So here this axis on x-axis where both are intersecting, that is taken as median. Source is given over here. Some of other graphs or diagrams are also taken to represent as box and whisker plots show the median and the range of group of data. It should be used for group data that has a spread. It shows the average and spread in one picture. Here you can see the enzyme concentration according to the races. The dark line is showing the median and both sides the spreading is showing the spread of those data. Then it's run chart. A run chart is a line chart plus the median for the data. It is used for data over time to look for any changes. The horizontal line is the median, which divides the data points in two halves. In this, you can see the horizontal line that's drawn in orange color. So this is for detection of non-random variation for something. So that shows the median at 8.1. So I think this is enough for basic of data presentation. Our lot of graphs and diagrams are there. Number of them are added with time through new computer programs. Just keep watching once you are involved with research. And accordingly, appropriate graphs or diagrams can be used for data presentation. Thanks a lot. If you like this lecture, please subscribe, like and share. We will cover the whole syllabus of research methodology and biostatistics for BMS and MD or MS for Ayurveda and other streams also. Thank you very much.